do hope you don't mind me looking in. We haven't really met properly. I'm Miss Jarrett, Reba Jarrett.
Yes.
I've so wanted to talk to you. May I? Because you see, I know what you're feeling. You can't believe what's happened to you. You think no one's ever felt like it before. But we've all been through it. We all know. I suppose so. Nothing outside ever prepares you for the way life just stops. All the things you've taken for granted, you begin to wonder whether they ever really existed.
Yes.
And then there's the terrible feeling of guilt. As if everyone's looking at you. And you feel more exposed and yet more alone than you could ever have imagined. But you mustn't think like that. Remember, no one here can cast the first stone.
You off then?
Yes, or I'll be late.
I've been thinking, love, something your governor said last night. I don't like the thought of people having it in for that girl at your prison. Can't you help her?
Why?
I know how hard it must have been for her. I wanted to die myself once, didn't I? It was only you that stopped me.
She has enough people helping her.
There's something else. Why don't you give our Betty a ring?
It was her who left.
She won't take the first step.
She knows where we live, if she wants us.
I'm from, well, quite a good family. It's worse for the ones who've really lost something. The ones with intelligence. And you spend your time going over and over what you've done.
I keep seeing him. Hearing him.
You must stop. If you don't, you'll get bitter and resentful and shut up in yourself. Surely you don't want that.
But how can you stop?
All right. By trying to think of others instead of yourself. That's why I became assistant to the chaplain. It's taught me so much. Why don't you come to one of our services?
It wouldn't mean anything.
Oh, you can't say that.
Oh, I used to believe. That was how I could bear it, but I failed, or it failed me.
I wish you'd come, at least once. It would mean a great deal. Just for me. It might help you. And it'd make me feel I'd been of some use.
Do you want me to break them up?
No.
She's not what I'd call the ideal companion for her.
Well, Reba's going out tomorrow. Can't do any harm.
Elaine's only other relatives are an aunt and uncle. They say she's always been shy and retiring. And although she did well at school, it became accepted that she would stay at home and run the house, leaving her mother free for her various committees, church guilds, charities, so on.
As a sort of an unpaid servant.
That's exactly what they said. And then when her father's ill health forced him to bring work home, she started to help him.
She probably felt someone really needed her. Must have been the happiest time she'd known.
The uncle and aunt said they'd always felt she had rather a lonely, restricted life, and that was probably what drove her to do it.
Will they come and visit her here?
I told them how important it was. They said they were prepared to. If her mother agrees. There's no chance of that.
No. Very difficult position this girl's in, you know. She's got no friends, only known one home. If her mother doesn't forgive her, doesn't take her back, on her release she'll have nowhere to go, no money. She's completely untrained for any kind of job.
I went to see Mrs. Reynolds. I tried to put the situation to her, but she just wouldn't listen. In fact, she asked me to leave.
Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us.
Of course I'll write to you.
I don't know what I should... You're the only person I've really been able to talk to since I've been here.
There's Miss Harker and Mr. Prentice.
That's not the same.
No. That's because we've got the same sort of background. Promise me you'll keep going to chapel. Well, if not for your own sake, at least for the chaplain's. He's a good man and he's doing a difficult job. Since going to chapel isn't compulsory any longer, very few women go. It can be very useful. Good.
Where will you go to? What will you do when you're outside?
The Lord will provide. I'll pray for you. And I'll keep you in my thoughts.
Come on, Reba, turn your off. So long, Reba. Good luck.
Good riddance. Hope you don't get back before I've gone.
Oh, it's a good thing for that girl. She's leaving.
Why?
Reba? She wangled that job in the chapel for how it look on her conduct sheet. She's poison.
Of course, you'd know more about it than the chaplain does.
I suppose I deserved that.
I am sorry, Mrs. Armitage. I said some rotten things the other night.
Well, I was a bit sharpish myself. I suppose it was the strain of that day.
Actually, I wanted to ask your advice.
Oh?
I know that Elaine should be given some work to do, to take her out of herself, but, well, I can't decide what. The wrong assignment would be very bad for her.
What are her interests?
Housekeeping, really. Cooking, sewing, that kind of thing.
Well, why don't you try her out with the sewing group? Some of them are making new curtains for the association room. Get her started on that.
Yes.
Until we can give her something positive to do outside her cell, she can't establish any sort of relationship with the other prisoners.
Come in. What is it, Elaine?
Please, I was wondering if I could book to see the chaplain.
There was a lot she wanted to say. I think Reba had got her to begin talking about herself, and suddenly there was no one to... Well, I don't think I'm breaking her confidence.
Something you feel I should know?
But I heard a lot about the time she spent helping her father, before his last illness. Obviously, there was a very close bond between them, much closer than with her mother.
I gather her mother didn't let having a sick husband interfere with her social life.
An admirable woman, but unable to accept the fact that her husband's disease was incurable. She kept saying they all should rise above it, and they tried to.
Yes.
Right, I don't know how to put this, but after talking to her, I'm convinced that Elaine loved her father and that she killed him only after he had begged her again and again.
But that's what she said at her trial.
And I believe her. She acted only after intolerable pressure had been put on her.
Well, if this is true and her mother was mistaken, or lying, it alters the whole case.
First, I learned to sew to see mine size of a house.
She's in the office.
Oh.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
I'm trying to sew this dress on my little girl, but I can't get the arms right. It's just a mess.
You're supposed to be the expert. Show her what to do.
Can you fix it?
Yes, you've just matched the seams wrong. But I'll have to take the sleeve off, if that's all right.
Yeah, go on. Sure, I've done most of it, but I can't seem to get that bit right, you know?
Well, if you just turn it round the other way.
Oh, I see.
Perfect.
That's kind of you to do it.
I can't ask you in, Mrs. Boswell, as I don't imagine your visit will be prolonged.